Hi everybody, it's Adrienne with Adrienne Berry Designs, and I am back with another workshop. This time it is art journaling. So I get a ton of questions on social media, on my YouTube, where I post a lot of my videos, on my process, the materials that I use, the type of journals that I use, how I get my inspiration, where I get my images from. So I thought I would do a little workshop talking about that. And I'm actually going to work in multiple journals today and show you my typical collages that I do, my typical art journaling that I do, working in a new journal here, how you can work in more than one journal at one time. So let's get right into it. I have already provided a supply list for you. It is in the link down in the description of the video. So you can get that, but I will talk about what we have going on here. I've got 3 journals. I've got all the supplies that I need. So we're just going to start talking about journals first. So the one that I work in most right now anyway is this moleskin, and this is the extra large soft cover. The reason that I like this was actually referred to me by somebody on TikTok, I believe, because I was working in a hard cover journal, and because of the type of work that I do, collage and paint, it was actually tearing that journal apart. The spine ended up, not the spine, but the inside was tearing. So they recommended to me the soft cover. So with the soft cover, when it starts to get really thick like this, you're actually able to bend your pages back. So that's why I'm finding that I really like this journal. And the pages really hold up to the type of work that I do. So that's why I like this journal. These come in all different sizes, but this is the XXL. Then this other little journal that I have is the Ranger. This is the Dina Walkley. I think that's how you say her name. It's a craft journal. It's a 6x6. This is actually a journal that I had done a series of spreads for, with the intent that I was sending it off to a magazine that I wanted to be published. And one of my pages was published and it got sent back to me, but I still have a lot to do here. So I've been working in it daily. I've been posting videos to my YouTube on the spreads that I've been doing. Got some gel medium in there. So I thought that I would talk about that and how I do these spreads. Ooh, we got a little bit of stickage there. So I will actually talk about a way to fix that. So we're going to do something in this. And actually with this one, I don't know that this is available anymore. I looked on Amazon and I saw that it was not. But I think if you do a search, you might be able to find it on other craft websites. So, and I believe it does come in other sizes. So you just have to do a search for it. And then I also have the Lamali, which I had never heard of this before. Again, I heard about this from someone on TikTok, and I got it for Christmas. And I've just played a little bit around in it. I've done watercolor in it because I wasn't really sure what you could do with it. I haven't collaged in it or anything, so we're gonna try something in here today. So get your images, get your collage, get your paints, work along with me, or just watch. So I think what we're gonna do is, I'm thinking we might start with the Lamali because there's a technique that we have to do to let it dry a little bit. So I think that's what we're going to start with. But one of the things I wanted to say before this is, you know, one of the reasons that I art journal is obviously because I like to be creative. I like to use them just to, you know, get feelings out, get emotions out, just to be creative. Another reason I art journal and art journal in different types of journals is because I like to see what kind of techniques, materials, supplies will work in different journals. And I test a lot of my ideas out in my journals first before I put them into artwork pieces. So that's why I have a lot of different art journals with different techniques. So that's the reason for that. But do your research, look into different types of journals that you might want to use. This is not the end all be all. There are tons of journals out there. You just got to do a search. There's watercolor journals, like there's craft journals, there's the Moleskine journals. You know, you can even just work in a composition notebook journal. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. That's one thing that I always tell people. Use what you have. Don't buy the fancy, expensive supplies until you play with things and figure out what you like, and then eventually upgrade and build up from there. Because trust me, I've done that. I've been influenced and pressured to think I need all this expensive stuff. You really don't. So just start where you are. So I'm going to move the Moleskine aside. She's the big girl. And we're going to start with the Lamaline. Only because I wanted to try a little technique in here. I don't know if you've heard of this, but I used to do this a lot back in the day. And it is called image transferring. And I thought it might be neat to test it in here. We're going to see. We're going to try it out. I did try it on a previous page and it did work, but I think I have to put a lot of gel medium down for it. So the reason we're going to do this first is because we need to set it aside to dry. And then we'll work in another one of the journals. So what I'm going to do in here is I got inspired by something that I saw on a walk the other day. And this is how I work in my journals. This is where I get my inspiration from. I see something out on a walk or a drive, or I hear a song, or I read a line in a book, and that's what inspires me. Yes, a lot of people inspire me online, but I try to pull away from that because I want to be inspired by myself, really, you know. I think we all want to be original and unique and find our own styles. So I was out on a walk the other day. There is a church near me and they have a little walking track. So I was out there walking and it was really like an overcast day. And, you know, it's just turning into spring here. Flowers are just starting to bloom. And as I passed by on the track, there's some woods around this track and this little pop of yellow popped out at me. And I saw this little daffodil growing in the woods here with all this brush and overgrowth, and it just looked really gnarly and kind of gross, but here was this one pretty flower in the midst of it, and I thought, wow, that's so pretty right there. And it just kind of spoke to me. I thought it was kind of poetic how something can bloom in the middle of just kind of destruction. And I was like, you know, I know there's probably like a song lyric or a quote or something about that, so I'm going to look up when I get home. So I snapped this picture on my walk, and sure enough, I Googled things about flowers blooming in deserts or dry places or things like that. And I got this quote. It says, "Where flowers bloom, so does hope." It's by Lady Bird Johnson. So that's how I kind of pull inspiration and composition. So I get an image, I get a quote, and I think, okay, how am I going to put this together in a journal? So I got the idea to maybe do an image transfer of this, because it's really not the best looking picture. When you look at, you would think, I don't know that this is really going to show up in a journal. So, I mean, of course I could just glue this down, but sometimes with a transfer, it kind of gives you that ghosted image, kind of raggedy, torn image. And I like that because I feel like it goes along with this, this little flower being there. So I'm also going to, I got this image of a daffodil. I just went out to Canva and I'm going to fussy cut it. But I thought that once I transfer this, and then I might write my quote somewhere, and then I think I'm going to put the daffodil here as a pop, so it emphasizes what was there. That's how I'm thinking about this and seeing this. So if you've never done an image transfer before, you use a gel medium. This is how I've learned. This is how I've always done it. And of course, my brand of choice is Golden. It is on the pricier end. I use Golden regular gel matte medium. And this gel matte is used for, painting. You mix it with your paints to get different textures and stuff. I use it as glue. I always have. That's how I learned many years ago from other people, from workshops that I took. So that's how I use it. And I am really gonna glop this on, okay? Like cake frosting here. Because as you can see, this watercolor paper, it's got texture. So we wanna make sure that we really get into all these grooves and stuff. Otherwise, the image will not take. So just really glop it on here. Okay. And then we're just going to put our image down. Now, typically, if you're doing an image like, let's say something like this, you want to make sure you reverse your image so that it will be mirrored how you want it to come out. And I'm just going to take a paper towel here and really press this down because I did kind of go around the edges here. So I will wipe that up as I go. And I'm going to get my scraping tool because I really want to get that down in there. I'm even pulling some of the medium out here. I just really want to make sure that that's getting down in the crevices. Like I said, I've done this technique multiple times. I've done it on paper, watercolor paper, canvas, but I've never done it on this type of paper. So there we go. Okay. So we're going to set this one aside to dry because you really need this to dry. You can hit it with the heat gun, but I'm going to let it dry and we're going to go ahead and work in our next art journal. So this is how you can work in multiple journals at the same time. So now we're going to go to the craft journal. And before I go to the next page, I'm going to talk to you about how it stuck and how you can fix that. So there is this product, and it is called Dorland's Wax Medium. And basically what you can do with this helps your pages not stick together. If you use paint, typically paint, and I had used some gel medium, as you can see, because I did collage, and I dried it with a heat gun yesterday. I let it air dry for 24 hours, but as you can see, it's still stuck. So it obviously wasn't dry. So what you can do this with a brush or a paper towel. I do it with my finger because I like to make sure that it really gets all around. So you're just taking it and you're just rubbing it all over the image. It's almost like Crisco. It has the consistency of Crisco. You really don't need a lot. And you just wipe it all over. And it seals it and protects it and will also prevent your pages from sticking. If you do a lot of paint, so there we go. And then sometimes I take a paper towel, just kind of wipe it. And that will make your pages not stick together. Okay, so now we're just gonna go to our next page. And this is my typical style of art journaling that I do. If you follow me anywhere on the socials, you know that I love a good black and white collage background. So I just have a bunch of papers here that I pulled out of my stash. Nothing fancy. I've just got some music pages, some book pages, some tissue paper, sewing patterns, doilies, because I love a good doily. And I just go through and I kind of rip them up a little bit before I get started. I've even got a napkin here. Napkins are great to use. I actually just learned this recently, using napkins, which I think I knew that from years ago doing like decoupage and stuff, but I never really thought about using it in my journals. So I just get a bunch of scraps like that and I just start gluing down. Again, I use gel medium. You can use a glue stick if that's what you like, you know, to each his own. This is just what I like to do because I stick it down and then I go over it again. So to me, it's like I know that it's completely down. And I make sure that there are no air bubbles, just really smooth it out. And again, you can take your scraping tool and really smooth it down, make sure you get those bubbles out. So here, I work pretty fast when I'm doing my backgrounds. I don't think about it. Let's see what else we have here. This is one of my favorite things to use. This is the inside of an envelope. When you get mail, bills, you get those return envelopes. I always save those because like I pay my bills online or whatever, but I still save these envelopes because they have great patterns on the inside. So as you can see, I'm doing 2 pages at once. Doing two, you know, this could be one whole spread, but I'm knocking it out and doing 2 at once. This will be two journal pages. Let's see here. So let's do this napkin. Got to be a little bit more careful with napkins and tissue paper when you're using gel medium. Or I guess glue or anything, because you don't want to tear it. It's a little bit more delicate. Sometimes I like the wrinkles though. It gives a little bit of extra texture. Got some tissue papers here. These are from Tim Holtz. He had made these little tissue packs. I think you can get these at any of your local craft stores or online. As you can see, I'm very generous with the gel medium. I glop it down because I just want to make sure I get it everywhere. Okay. And then I think that's about it. I'm going to add like a little doily thing here. I love, that was probably a little too much. I love a good doily. I don't know why. I feel like it adds like just like a little bit of softness and femininity. Is that the right word? You know, with all these rough edges. And then it's like add a little bit of softness into it. That's what I like to do. Maybe we'll put her up there. Okay, just like that. So I call that done. That's pretty much it. And I am going to hit that with the heat gun. Okay, so now I am going to use some of these girls as my focal images. These are from Art House Whimsy. You can find her on Etsy, TikTok, Instagram. She does a lot of digital downloads, and I've just been like addicted to these lately. I just think they're so fun. They're so unique looking with their little hairdos and stuff. So let's see here. I kind of like it when I have like one facing one direction and then one facing like forward or something. I think we'll just go with those two. And these I have to fussy cut out. These are from a kit, and she has a couple of these. It's called Stark Contrast. I think she has about 5 of these out right now. They're really neat. There's so many images that she has. I'm going to try not to be super detailed with this hair here, because I will be here forever with that. But yeah, Stark Contrast. And I have it as a link in the supply list, so if you want to go check that out. And if you subscribe to her email list, like she does like freebies and stuff sometimes. So yeah. I'm always drawn to like a figure portrait. I've used them in my artwork for like 20 years. I just love an image of a person and like putting words or quotes or something with it. It's just kind of my jam. I'm gonna have to cut down a lot of this hair because it's very detailed and I'm not gonna be able to capture all that. So I'm just gonna, these would be neat to do with a transfer. So, I mean, I know I didn't get all of her hair there. But I think before I do that, I'm going to do some stenciling. So I have this stencil here. I think this is from Stencil Girl Products. I'll have to look it up, but I'll make sure that it's in the supply list for you. And like I said, I'm still kind of going with a flower theme right now. I'm kind of really stuck on flowers. I think it's because it's spring. But I do a lot of flowers in my collage work. But I'm definitely into the spring thing. And I think I've got this purple here. Oops, that was a little bit too much. I've got this pink too. I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a dark purple and a light purple. But I think before I do that, I think I want to mute this down a little bit. I think it's too much brown for me. So I'm going to use this Golden Titan Buff. As you can see, I use this quite a bit. I'm going to need a new bottle of that soon. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit that on here just to like mute the background a little bit, soften it up. Usually I do collage completely over my page. If you follow me and have seen me do collage before, I'm kind of a maximalist. I like to fill out the page. But here lately with these little collages I've been doing a little bit less and kind of just focusing kind of in the middle. But I think, because I'm not used to working in like a little craft book like this, so I think I just want to kind of like soften the background up a little bit. It's a little like too much for me, I think. And I'm kind of just like dry brushing it on here because that's also giving it some texture there. So I think that's enough. I'm going to hit it with the heat gun again. Okay, so now I'm going to do the stencil, and I'm going to do these little flowers here in the middle. This is a really neat stencil. Let me move this. I'm very bad with my stencils, as you can see. I'm not the best cleaner of them. But it's got this heart with the flowers and the dots, kind of all kinds of stuff going on. It says love down here. It's a really neat stencil. So I've got my little sponge, and I think I'm just gonna maybe grab this light purple first. Get in here if I can. Should go right over to this one. Got a little bit of that dot in there. That's okay. Just keep going with the light purple. You can certainly use a brush if you like. Then I think I'll just take this dark purple, maybe just go right over those two light ones, maybe. I might have just done too much. That's okay. I'll put another one over here. Just kind of playing around. I think that's fine. I think it's enough. Whenever you feel the need to stop, stop. Don't push if you don't feel the need to push. And we're gonna hit that with the heat gun again. Okay, so now we are going to glue our girls down. And again, just with the gel medium, that's how I do it. Just gonna put her kind of right over the flowers a little bit, maybe. And sometimes I like to go over the girls with some gel medium just to like give it that extra seal. That's just me. Just to like make sure I got it down. And it dries clear. I know it looks like a little smoky. Is that the word? Because at the same time, I'm pressing to make sure I got it down. And hit it with the heat gun again. Okay, so now I think I'm pretty much done with this. Sometimes what I like to do is, sometimes I'll take a pen, like I have this glitter pen here. I like to just put some little dots. Like that. Maybe we'll put them in the center of those flowers there. So people actually know that they're flowers if somebody was looking at this. Sometimes I might add writing, I might add a quote, a word. And I think for this one, I have these Tim Holtz ideology stickers. As you can see, I've used a ton of them. These are the small talk ones. Let's see. Thinking maybe, I don't know if I want to use the white ones. I don't know, let's see what the white one looks like. Yeah, we can maybe do the white one. We could do that there. That says stronger than yesterday. Let's see. I think I'm going to take this one right here that I saw. This says live, create, tell the story. I think I'm going to do that just like that. Maybe just put in a couple more of these little dots, maybe. Some around the word, kind of tie it all together. Oops, I kind of got it on the thing there. Yeah, there you go. I'll call that one done. So there you go. That's a quick way to work in your art journal. Just, doing different techniques, collage, paint, stencil, whatever. So even though I did hit this with the heat gun a couple times, I am going to leave this out to dry again for 24 hours. And then tomorrow I will come back and put that Dorland's wax medium on there so my pages don't stick together. So we are just going to set that one aside. And let's go back to our lamali. And let's see. I'm going to see if test this out here. Oh yeah, it's okay. So when it's transferred, see when it's like that, when you start to peel it away, so it's on there. So what you're gonna do is, now if there's another way and you know how to do it, by all means do it. What I've always done is like trying to peel off as much as you can. Because then you're gonna have to get to the wet phase where you peel it. Basically, see, you're doing this rolling paper thing, where you kind of roll it with your finger. See that? But after a while, that doesn't work, and you kind of have to wet it again. See this? We're going to be peeling off as much as we can. Till you get down to the image that you transferred. And you can see this is where we want to get down to. We want to get down to the image there. Kind of doing it this way in the layers guarantees that you're not ripping the whole image off. You don't want to do that. So you can see that little oval there, that's part where the image came up, and you don't want to do that. So you kind of got to really be careful when you do this, because the tendency is to like really rub hard, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so we're just peeling the paper up in layers. Who would ever known paper was made up of so many layers till you do something like this. Okay. You can see this is a messy process. See, look at all the different layers of that paper. And we're trying to get down to the image. So this is where I can feel it. See, just my hand will not rub off anymore unless I really start scratching. And that's going to get to the point where I might scratch the image off and ruin it. So what we're going to do, I have a spray bottle here. I'm just going to spray some water. And when you do that, it helps kind of loosen this paper up a little bit. And you're just going to rub away the paper. See that? See how that's coming up? And it's revealing more and more of the image. Now, for me, for this, I don't really care if I rub away around. I really want to save the daffodil there because that was the main focal point for me. That's the part that I want to stand out. So I'm going to be careful around there, okay? So don't rub hard, just rub the surface, okay? We want to get as much of the white off as we can, okay? So I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to spray and rub, spray and rub. I'm going to speed up this part of it, and then I will come back to you. Okay, we are back. So as you can see, it worked really good on this paper. I mean, I'm loving the effect of that. I can still see the flower in the middle. And some of it rubbed off around the edges here, but I'm fine with that because it kind of gives it that vintage torn look, and I'm loving that. You can see where it's still kind of a little gray here. That means there's still some of the pulp from the paper on there. So some more rubbing needs to happen there, but I'm going to leave it because I don't want to risk rubbing away that daffodil right there. So I'm just going to leave it. But again, it's just trial and error. You just kind of get used to it. You really have to practice this a couple times till you get used to the feel of rubbing the paper away and knowing when to stop. So it's a really neat effect. I mean, it looks like it's actually part of the paper. It's really cool. And again, you can do this on any type of paper, as far as I know. I've done it on plain paper, watercolor paper. I've done it in journals. I've done it on canvas. I don't think there's any medium that, I mean, you can do this on glass and stuff. You can do it on wood. So yeah, just give it a try, experiment. It's really a cool effect. I'm so happy it came out. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out the daffodil here because I'm wanting to emphasize what's in the picture. And this one, this is like something, this is a spread where, you know, I think sometimes we show our spreads on social media or we share them with people, you know, and this one's really for me. This one is like a thing of remembrance. I want to remember this occasion. I want to remember this day. You know, when I was out there walking, I was really de-stressing. You know, I was having a hard day. I have a lot of things going on in my personal life right now. And this really spoke to me. So, well, obviously you're seeing it because you're taking this class. But so I just want to include elements to remind me of this day. You know, this isn't something I'm going to sell or make prints of or anything like that. Get that other little white in there. I am not the best with like a little craft knife, so I'm always on my scissors. Trying to fussy cut. thinking I might just do those two. I think I'm just gonna cut. It's taking up too much of the journal page for me. I think I like that better. And then, of course, I have my quote that I wrote down. And so I've got to figure out where I'm going to put that. If I was thinking a little bit better, I probably would have maybe moved this image up a little bit more, so that I would have had more room for the quote. And I could maybe do a little bit here. Yeah, I can do that. Let's do that. So I think I'm going to glue this down first. See, sometimes as I work, the ideas come. You know, I don't really sit and stare at a page too long, like ahead of time. I just start working and the ideas come to me. So we're going to put that there like that. And then I think I'm going to do part of the quote up here and part of it down here. So I'm just going to write like very loosey-goosey. So I'm just going to say, where flowers bloom, so does hope. And then if I want to, you know, just remember that this is a quote by Lady Bird Johnson. Maybe I'll do it just a little bit tinier. There. So there we go. There's another art journal spread. So we were kind of simultaneously doing, you know, these two journals at once. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our last journal, the big behemoth that I like to call her, our moleskin. And kind of staying with the theme of flowers here, there was another thing that inspired me this past week. I was, as I said before, if I didn't, I live in the country and I was going into town. Town is probably 20 minutes from me, but I live out near a lot of farmland. And as I was going up the road, there was a field with purple flowers in it. And actually, I think it's a type of weed, but they have a purple flower leaf or something at the top. But it was just this beautiful blanket of purple. And immediately it made me think of the movie, The Color Purple, and the scene where Celie and Shug are walking in the field with the purple flowers. And I was like, you know what? That'd be a good journal spread. So we are going to do that, and I'm going to have to like fold some pages back here, I think, to make this even. So yeah, that looks good. So a lot of the time I go across and I do like a double page spread, but I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. Let's see what I've got here in the form of images. So I found this image online from the movie. This was the best one I could find. It was pulling up a lot of the newer images. I guess they did a remake of the movie. And I didn't want that. I wanted the original movie. So I found this one and I just love it. And then I found the quote that Shug says, when she says, "I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it." So that's what I thought of when I saw that field. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to look that up. I'm going to see if I can find a picture, and I'm going to do a journal spread. So that's what I mean by being inspired by things around you. Always be noticing, we have our phones on us all the time. We have a built-in camera, take pictures of things that inspire you. Write down something in your note app, a song lyric that you hear, a line from a book that you read. Save those things. And you can also put the photos right into your note app under that song lyric or something so you don't forget it. That's something that I've started doing in the past 2 years, just so I can compile those ideas together. And then when I get home, I'm like, I have like a little library of inspiration right there on my phone. So that's the next spread that we're going to do in the moleskin. So obviously this image is not going to go across 2 pages. So I'm thinking we might have to go maybe horizontal. I have not done that too much in this journal. So, but hey, why not? Who says you can't go horizontal? Another thing I did was I went out to Canva and I found some images of some purple flowers because I thought it would be neat to like kind of add them around here. And I just did a search for purple flowers. A bunch of images came up. I put them in an 8.5 by 11 document. And I've also saved this for you in a PDF along with the supply list. So you can use this if you want. If not, it's okay, but I made this available to you. So I went ahead and had already I fussy cutted a bunch of the purple flowers, so I would have those ready. And I've got my quote, I've got my image, so now I've got to figure out how I'm going to make it work here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out the image, and let's just see what we're working with here, because I've never really done anything horizontal. So let's see. Okay. So, and I obviously want to write the quote down because the quote meant something to me. We could put these flowers all around the bottom, all around, but I need somewhere to put the quote. Maybe, like, I could just cut them out, but I want to remember the field because that's like the important part of the scene. Maybe we cut the blue off. Let's cut this sky off. I think that's what's jumping out at me. I'm going to just cut this one flower off because it looks like it's floating in the air. And I'm not going to be like super, detailed about it because my image, I don't know if you can really tell, it's kind of fuzzy and pixelated. I didn't get the best image online. I just grabbed the first one that I saw. But it's okay. I just wanted to get the gist of it from the scene in the movie. So I'm not being super particular about it. Again, it looks like a couple of the flowers in the background are kind of floating in the sky. And that's only, again, because I didn't get a sharp image. So I'm just working with what I have. Because I can't get that detailed in the background there. I love this movie growing up. I used to watch it every single time it came on HBO. I probably shouldn't have been watching it at that age. So yeah. I mean, it doesn't fit all the way to the edges, but that's fine because I've got the flowers. I'll probably like work around it. And then I need I think I'm going to use Posca pens to write the quote. These are Posca paint pens. They come in a wide variety of sizes. I use these a lot in my work because I love how they write. You know what? I think we're going to glue stick. I don't think I'm going to gel medium this. Because I'm not doing like a lot of collage work and layers and stuff. So, yeah, I think I need to figure out how I'm going to write it before I glue this down. Because my writing, what if my writing doesn't fit? Okay, so I've got my quote here. Let's see, I've got some purples, I've got some black. I think I might do it in black. And then maybe I'll write the word purple in purple, if I remember. Sometimes I just start writing and then I forget. So, okay, let's see. Sorry, I've got paint and gunk all over my fingers. Okay, let me stick this here. Okay, I'm just gonna hold this here. It's kind of a placeholder so I know. Should I stick the word by up here? Kind of messed that B up. Oh, see, I did it. I was supposed to write purple. That's okay. It's okay. See, once I get in the groove. And see, I didn't space that out enough. I don't know that I can fit somewhere in there. I could try. Yeah, I got it. There we go. I tried to make it kind of like even. Kind of hard the way that the page is bending right now. Because like I said, this girl's getting thick. I'm going to take this smaller Posca pen and I'm just going to go in and fill the letters just to add that purple. You know, and I have a lot of other people, I've had people comment on my videos and stuff that, you know, oh, I can't write in a journal. Oh, I don't like my handwriting. Oh, you know, just practice. I would say get yourself some scrap papers and practice writing. You know, practice writing, write with your non-dominant hand too. Sometimes I do that. When I scribble in my backgrounds, I'll use my right hand. Just try practicing, you know, practice your cursive, practice writing in print like this, practice different styles of writing. And you know what, at the end of the day, if you really cannot stand your handwriting, just print it out. Write out the quote and print it out on a piece of paper. I do that sometimes in my spreads. You know, there's no rule saying you have to write it, you know. Just do whatever you're comfortable with. There we go. So that brings some of the purple in. I like that. And so like I said, I think we're going to use the glue stick for this one. Make sure we get this all over the place here. And I am using the Oohoo glue stick. I know glue sticks are like a big debate. Some people like Oohoo, some people like Tombow, some people like tape runners. Use whatever you like. I use all of them. Okay, I don't want that umbrella to get up in there, so there we go. And I think now, I'm just gonna start adding, I'm just gonna run glue all down around here because I'm just gonna start putting these flowers in. And I'm actually gonna go off the page a little bit because I think I wanna like cut around. You know, I'm going to trim off. It's funny, now that I'm putting these down, it's like these flowers are more purple than the flowers in the field. The flowers in the field look pink. But that's okay. Let's see, put some of these up here. I'll put that one over there, try to cover up some of that white. So there's another journal spread. And this one we used no paint on. We just used the paint pens, but I'm liking it. So now I just need to, okay, I've got to flip it this way because I'm left-handed. I'm just going to trim off everything that I kind of had hanging off here. I kind of cut my page, but that's fine. Struggles of a left-handed person. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I can't like get my hand in there good. Okay, so there we go. I am liking that. And you know, I guess I could have, looking at this now, I probably could have maybe made the image a little bit lighter, made their faces kind of better to see. But I mean, I like it. I think I kind of like the contrast. I think you know it's from the movie. So yeah. So there we go. That is my process of doing art journaling. Working in different journals, working in journals simultaneously, and the different techniques that I use. And the inspiration that I use to make my spreads. So I hope this has inspired you. If you use any of these techniques, please let me know. Please tag me in your spreads on social media. And remember to have fun. Don't stress. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is for enjoyment. Okay? See you next time. Bye.